So, welcome to the virtual calving corner of the PA Farm Show 2021. We are live. We are watching a cow that is in active labor. We're here at Meadow Spring Farms in Lidditz, Pennsylvania. The Bollingers are the family that owns the farm, and this cow had kind of started showing signs earlier in the day, being uncomfortable with her tail up, but now she has finally gotten where she is ready to lay down and push. And there are feet that are showing a little bit when she does push. So the normal presentation for a cow to have birth is the front feet and the nose come out all together at once. This was designed purposefully so that when the calf is getting ready to come through the cervix, there's even pressure all the way around the entire cervix inside the cow, and it helps her to dilate. This is the normal presentation. So that is what you're seeing right now, and she is having contractions every probably 2 contractions a minute or so. If you're um, used to the calving corner for the last, this is year number 4 that we've been doing it, you normally would be hearing Miriam say, "Be still and quiet right now." As you can see, I don't, if you can see close enough, the calf is still in the sac. There is a placental sac over the feet that are coming. This will rupture as long as the umbilical cord is attached, which it still is at this point, to the placenta, to the uterus in the cow. The calf is getting oxygen from the cow, the dam, the mom. Um, so it does not need to breathe out on its own yet. It is not until that cord is compressed when it is halfway out, and by then the head will be all the way out of the cow and it will be able to breathe on its own. Uh,
have a lot of cows, it's an easier way to keep track, and it makes it much easier in their computerized record keeping system. Um, if they're going to talk about what cow is in the process of giving birth, and um, one of the Bollinger kids see a cow in the process, they're going to tell their dad it's 1078, and he's going to know exactly who he's talking about, and he can pull it up on his computer records and get information on 1078. 1078 is also tied into her activity monitor. It's like a Fitbit that's around her neck that monitors her health and her activity, as well as keeps information on the milk production that when she's producing milk.
So this is going to be her third calf. So she is going to be at least 5 years old while she's having this calf. And like I said before, you can see that the sac is over the feet. The other interesting thing to know is the feet, the hair is black all the way down to the hooves. So this is going to be a crossbred between Angus and Holstein. So the Angus is a meat breed. The Holstein, the black and white cows, are a dairy breed, so they are known for milk, whereas Angus are known for giving us meat more efficiently in terms of that is what they're produced. So Holsteins hooves, all four legs would have to have white down to their hooves, the white, and the very tip of the tail where the hair comes out of would also have to be. Seeing that these feet are all black all the way down to the hooves, we can tell that this is going to be one of their crossbreds. So right now, when she pushes, you can see that the nose is just there. You can see the nostril a little bit, and she's having active contractions quite frequently, and that is completely normal. Um, the the calves are, sized appropriately for the size of the animal. Some people don't quite realize how big cows are, but on average, an adult cow is going to weigh 1,500 pounds. Adult Holstein cow, I should say. There are different breeds. One year they had Jerseys at the calving corner. They are the little brown ones. They probably on average weigh about 1,000 to 1,100 pounds. So the calf will probably be, I would probably guess 90 pounds when it comes out, depending on how big it is, but that would probably be about the average size it should be. And you can see that she takes some rest in between having contractions. So this is coming out in the normal presentation, 2 front feet and the nose, and it is lined up appropriately where the nose is on top. Things go wrong, which is when they call the veterinarian, where they come out backwards, or they do have a true breech, just like people, where they'll come out just the tail, and that's how they position themselves. Um, that doesn't quite work, and you have to go in and manually get them in a more proper position. They can be born with just the back coming if they're both up and coming out just like the front feet. That is a little bit harder on the calf. And as I said before, there is still the sac, and the sac's still over the nose, and that is okay because the umbilical cord is still attached and inside the uterus. So the calf is still getting its oxygen from the cow, and it has not needed to have to breathe on its own. And once the umbilical cord um, starts to get compressed in the pelvis as it's out, by that time the head is completely out of the cow, and the calf can breathe and take a breath on its own to be able to breathe oxygen, so that there's no time that it would be without oxygen. Its nose is wiggling a little bit. My guess is that's probably a little bit hard for you guys to see on camera, but
Answer why they crossbreed, why they mix anyone and two.
I mean, I can give what I think.
Niche
I,
genetic.
so I can, yeah. There's a question about why they crossbreed. So they do a very good job of with the reproductive status of the cows, and so they have an abundance of young dairy Holstein dairy heifers. That would be a young cow is called a heifer, the females. So they have an abundance of those. So they don't need every calf to be born to be a Holstein, because they have enough of their replacements that the cows that are on this farm last long enough that they're not getting rid of them, and so they don't need them to they don't need to have a replacement for them because they're staying on the farm. So for that reason, these animals, because they're crossbred with Angus, they grow more efficiently than a purebred Holstein. So because um, the Angus breed is known for being efficient at making meat and growing fast for meat, that is the beef that we're going to be eating, then if you crossbreed them with a Holstein, you can then have a calf that's going to be more efficient at growing and producing meat. So that is why they are crossbreeding with them. It makes it a well, it makes it more desirable in terms of people just they like certified Angus. They like that notion of it being a beef breed. It's kind of no different than your dog breeds. You know, you have your terrier group, you have your sporting group, you have your herding group. That's kind of, you know, the world in terms of the cows. There's meat cows and there's dairy cows. So that's kind of no different in the different types of dogs that you would be used to. This is a pretty intense process, I think, probably for any species to be giving birth. So you can see that she is resting and she's resting comfortably. I mean, she has to take some deep breaths, really, is what she's doing right now, while she's resting. And I think that's just like humans. Like you know, you have some deep breaths and take some rest in between contractions. Before she laid down, um, she was quite thirsty, so she drank probably about 15 gallons of water before she laid down, to start pushing actively. She'll be offered water again after the calf is born. There's a lot of things that have to go right for a live animal of actually any species, from a bee to an elephant, um, to get a normal, live, healthy animal. There are a lot of things that have to go right, which is why it is a miracle every single time um, you get a live, healthy animal of any species. And as you can see, she's getting a little uncomfortable, but she just needs to reposition. And she's not quite sure of the camera right now. So you can see how big cows are. I mean, at her shoulder, she's probably, and she would definitely right now be weighing at least 1,500 pounds. She did just have 73 days of rest before she's been having this baby. So she's been in what we call the dry cow pen. Those are the cows that aren't being milked. So they get to just relax and eat and grow the baby. Um, and as you can see, she's sniffing where there's some of the uh, uterine fluid juices came out. That is by nature, cows were predator animals. Um, so no, they're prey animals. Sorry, the predator. Yeah, the predator chases the prey. So by nature, they're prey animals. So it is to cover up the fact that she would have had any sort of young, because if there's any evidence that she had a young calf, the predator could find that. So Mother Nature has it so that they usually will eat any evidence that there is a calf. It is also why both calves usually stand within 30 minutes after birth, so that they can get up and move with the herd. That is a lot different from humans who has babies who have to be taken care of and they just get taken care of by their parents. Um, Prey animals, they need to basically be born and be able to live with their herd or their flock or any other grouping of adult animals. And so they need to be able to move and not look like they're the youngest or the weakest and be picked out by the predator. Why don't you offer some more water? So Andy's going to offer her a little bit more water since she drank some before she laid down. We're going to see if she wants some more now. So cows typically will drink about a bathtub full of water a day, which is about 30 gallons. Since she is in labor and near, um, she will drink probably more than that. She'll probably drink close to that just, in in a couple hours. There's a lot of fluid that's lost through the birthing process. She apparently knows where the camera is and wants to make sure that you guys get the best view. Maybe.
So the questions on Facebook about what farm is this? This is Meadow Springs Farm. It is the same if you're watching the live YouTube channel and the live Facebook.
They can calve standing up. Andy's bringing her some more water since she drank that bucket. We will keep bringing her water until she doesn't want any water anymore. Again, like I said, they can lose a lot of fluid during the labor process. Um, so drinking some warm water is a good thing. So cows typically do go and find a spot in the corner by themselves to have their calves. Hopefully she'll turn back around. You can see that she is still quite uncomfortable. So if you're just joining us, this is Meadow Spring Farms in Lidditz, Pennsylvania. This is cow number 1078. She is having her third calf. She's started um, active labor probably about a half hour, 40 minutes ago. She has been a little bit uncomfortable for a couple hours before that. She had her tail up and ready, but actively pushing. And as you can see, there's 2 feet and a nose. That is the proper position, so everything's coming normally. The sack is still over the 1 foot and the nose. No. So we're just going to kind of pull the sack back away from the nose right now, just so that um, as she continues to push, when the calf does need to take a breath on its own, it can. So you can see an eye there, and it's blinking. So I think Andy's just going to help it. It is a big calf, and like I said, it is a cross between an Angus and the Holstein. So there he just kind of helped her, and that was a very very easy pull. He did not pull that hard at all. He just kind of assisted as she went to push. So as you see, he's putting the legs up. He's just going to kind of sit it up. It just helps to get it to breathe. Um, it just has a big difference from where it was to now where it is coming out of the uterus. And is it a girl or a boy? It's a boy. So I know the one previously named this morning was Prince Henry. So I don't know, maybe we could do it backwards, make this one Prince William. They're just out of order in terms of their birth. Okay, so we're going to do some name suggestions and see. So Andy's just going to kind of get her to get up. Okay, so we have Peter as a suggestion, Daniel, Colby, Domino, Sylvester, Fred. Fred was one from this morning. What was that one? Bananas. Okay. Oliver, Malachi, Cody, Ollie. Um, there. Okay, if you want a name that was already previously mentioned, I think that the top running order is Oliver, Domino, Prince William, and Peter. We're going to do those three. Oliver, Domino, Peter. Yes. So you have about 2.5 minutes to make your choice known. Um, so the placenta is still hanging out from the dam. That is typical. That can take up to 24 hours after the calf is born to be expelled fully. The mama knows that she's had a calf. She's just probably a little bit wore out and tired right now. We will probably be going in and just getting help, encouraging her to get up just so that she can start looking off the calf. As you can imagine, he was just in an environment that was probably about 100 degrees, and now he's in an environment that's about 40 degrees. Um, so that's a big shock. So if she can get him licked off and dried off, um, that would be good. Why don't you see if, well, I was gonna say give her a little bit more water one more time before you pull the calf around. Let's see if she drinks, if like, so we're gonna offer a little bit more water to see if that helps her to, hopefully here she will get up and start licking him off. We're gonna move the calf a little bit, I think. Okay. The calf name will be announced on Facebook. Just like, anything else, if you're dry, you usually are a little bit warmer than if you're wet. So it'd be nice if she gets up and licks off the calf. I think she's just a little wore out, which is part of the reason why we went ahead and Andy assisted just getting it out just so that she didn't get so wore out that she gave up. So Andy's gonna try to move this calf a little bit. She's thinking about it. So cows get up with their back end first and then get up on their front feet, which is different than horses who get up on their front feet first. As you can see, the calf is thinking that it wants to get up. So the calf knows that it should get up then and start nursing. The first milk that comes out of the cow is called colostrum, and that's going to be given, that's going to have all the antibodies that the calf needs. So they're basically, the antibodies are basically what helps fight off the infection in the calf until the calf develops its own antibodies. So that way, if the calf is exposed to anything, it actually has whatever the cow's already been exposed to. She's made antibodies. Just like when you get a vaccine, you make antibodies, then you have your body remembers those antibodies, and if you ever see that disease, you have the antibodies to fight off the infection. Well, the calf hasn't seen anything yet because it just came out of its sterile environment. So it gets those antibodies, basically a big dose of a vaccine from the colostrum. So the first milk is called colostrum, and on this farm, they make sure that each calf gets at least 3 quarts within usually 6 hours of the birth. That way, that the calf has the best chance of getting as many antibodies as it can, as quickly as it can, to be able to fight off any infection until it develops its own. And as you can see, the calf kind of is trying to think about standing up. Its head's up, and the mom's licking it. Its feet are a little bit wobbly, as you can imagine. It didn't really have to use its muscles to stand when it was in the uterus, so trying to stand up, it kind of is a little bit wobbly and shaky. But she's being a good mama and licking it off and drying it off. The other thing that they'll do on this farm is they'll what we call dip the navel, so the umbilical cord. They'll have an iodine solution and just go ahead and dip the entire umbilical cord in the navel solution. We don't use clamps like they do in humans. We just let nature, it'll dry off and fall off in a couple of days. But just to help again keep it clean and to help dry it a little faster, they do use an iodine solution to put in the umbilical cord in just to help that process for the calf.
So we were asked whether they will keep this calf. It was announced that this calf is a bull, which is a male. On this farm, this farm is a dairy farm. In order for a cow to produce milk, which is what a dairy farm does, it raises cows and cares for cows to produce milk.
Probably easy, just lost about 100 pounds minimum just by having this calf. Um, so I don't know if you can appreciate, but this cow now, if you look at her sides, does not look as full and as big a belly as she once had before she had the calf. So that calf probably weighs about 80 pounds. And with the fluid from the placenta and the fluid from the sac that the calf was in, she probably lost at least 100 pounds of fluid. Um, so that's proportionately just again like a human when a human gives birth and their belly goes away. That's basically what happened. And I know you may not be able to see that on the video, but you can definitely see it in person that she had a belly that was a little bit fuller than it is now, and now it is not. You can see that she's what we call uddered up. She does have a nice udder. She is going to be able to provide a nice amount of colostrum for the calf. So that first milk is the colostrum. That calf will get her colostrum, and that helps give the calf the antibodies it needs so that if it sees any uh, immune challenge for any disease, that it has the antibodies to fight off until it makes its own. It usually takes about 5 to 6 months to completely have the antibodies that the calf gets from the dam, from the colostrum, to be gone. So that first feeding will give that calf antibodies for 5 to 6 months. Puppies are the same way. They get antibodies from their mom, which is why when you take your puppy to get vaccinated after you get a puppy, you have to take it back multiple times to get multiple vaccines. And that's the same reason why is because you don't know when the antibodies are completely gone. And as the puppy is, its immune system is making its own antibodies from the vaccine, it also has to overcome the antibodies from its mom when it was born, from its first milk and its colostrum. So that's why you have to, get your dog vaccinated usually every 2 to 3 weeks until they're usually about 4 months old or so. And that's the same thing as with the calves. And we do the same thing when we vaccinate calves when they're young, that we'll do more than one shot just because we don't know when exactly the antibodies from their mom are completely um, gone, and until their antibodies have taken up. Um, and that's all. It's no different than in people in terms of just trying to protect them from diseases that they will see in life. So as the mom's licking off the calf, well, she stopped right now, but that's also helps her in terms of it just helps release oxytocin, which is sometimes kind of like one of the happy hormones that people get, in terms of just making them feel good, and that helps have her uterus contract, helps expel the placenta. Um, it also helps stimulate her to let her milk down, so that when the calf does get up to go nurse, that she's ready for the calf to go ahead, that she can let her milk down and have it come flow freely. So all of that is done when she licks off the calf, and hormonally there's a lot of things going on that we can't see by just watching the video. Well, he's gonna soon make it up. Do you want me to? We'll get it for a minute. So we're gonna keep the video feed on for a little bit until for probably about 5 more minutes. Hopefully he'll stand up by then. He's trying. He got his back end up. But like I said before, his legs are quite wobbly, as you can imagine. He's been floating in a sack for the last 9 months, so he hasn't really had to use his muscles, and now all of a sudden he's expected to stand. Again, the cows being prey animals, he needs to get up and get moving and be able to keep with the herd in Mother Nature. So that is why they usually can stand within about 30 minutes after they've been born, and my guess is he'll probably make that 30-minute mark. His mom keeps licking him. That's just to dry him off, get him warmed up, get him stimulated. And once they usually stand, they start looking for the udder to get some milk to get that colostrum. A cow's tongue is quite rough. It is like sandpaper, so it doesn't always feel good if you just have human skin. But a calf has not only the hair, but it also has a thick skin. So the calf doesn't mind her sandpaper-like tongue licking, but it does hurt if you just have a bare arm and they start licking you. She just wants to make sure everyone knows who she is and that she just gave birth to this live little baby. Which did we come up with the name? Did we have the final decision?
I'm gonna put it on Facebook, but I think it's Domino. Well, I've seen a lot of dominoes.
We're gonna have to check that then.
Okay, well there will be a recount on the name. We will have to manually go back and look at all the ballots.
A lot of people, it's Domino or Oliver. Those are the two.
So it's Domino or Oliver. Those are the choices, but there apparently is going to be a recount to make sure that we get it right. We don't want to prematurely announce what the name is. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to make this 5 minutes to stand up. He enjoys getting dried off right now. So just kind of has a recap while we're watching is this is coming live from Meadow Spring Farms in Lidditz, Pennsylvania. This is the Bollinger family are the owners of the farm here. It is a family-owned, family-run farm. They milk about 400 cows. They have about 900 animals on the property. And this is just one of their cows that gave birth today. They ship to Clover Farms in Reading, Pennsylvania. And they would tell you to make sure you drink your whole milk. It's wonderfully nutritious for you. I will say, both him and his mom are quite probably the little photogenic type that they look at the camera just perfectly. But okay. So thanks for watching. Next Tuesday, they will be live again at what time? 10 a.m. They will be live. They
From Brook Corner Holsteins in Lebanon.
Brook Corner. Okay, so Brook Corner Holsteins in Lebanon, Pennsylvania. Next Tuesday, January 19th at 10 a.m. You can watch again. So check out the YouTube video there and you can get on. And I believe they're doing question and answers just like they did today with the Bollinger family. So you can see that and watch another birth. Hopefully they can have one that they can record then too. And if not, we will be in person in 2022 in Harrisburg at the farm show. Oh, Facebook. Okay, so check out Facebook for the official name once the count is in to know if we have Oliver or if we have Domino. So everyone else, have a good night.